A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu news analysis session for the day. So, for 25th October 2025, let's analyze the important UPSC relevant articles. We will begin with the editorial page and then look into other important developments in the news. The key idea is to discuss, to have a perspective, clarity on all these topics so that you can write these points in your mains answers so that you have a 360 degree clarity about all the current affairs, all the news affairs that are right now important in India as well as globally. Okay, and before I can start, let me quickly see who all have joined the session already. So that's Lenny. Very good morning, dear. Very good morning, Golu, Dipesh, and aspirant. Very good morning, Reshma. So happy to see you as always. So let's quickly see. Good morning there, Ramu. Which important news articles do we have for the day? And we shall start with the editorial page, like always, which is page number 8 for you. Two lengthy articles to be followed by quick news analysis. Very, very good morning, Balram. So happy to see each one of you, my dear. Stay blessed, stay happy. Most welcome to the platform. Okay, now, the first news for the day, page number 8, the main editorial. Respect the health rights of Indian children. I think because the article is saying Indian children, we all understand it is about health, safety for the vulnerable populations. Many times we have discussed before, all minorities can be vulnerable, but all vulnerable components in India are not minorities. Because although the Indian constitution only recognizes two kind of minorities, one linguistic and the other religious. In reality, in our Indian society, there are many communities who are vulnerable. And what is vulnerable? GS paper 2, social justice. Vulnerable means somebody who is prone, who is susceptible to backwardness and deprivation, who is living on the margins of the society, marginalized. Their contribution to the mainstream society is not enough. Hence, they do experience a much higher degree of backwardness, deprivation, poverty, backwardness. And one segment here happens to be children. Just like people above 65, geriatric are vulnerable. So are children under 5. They are vulnerable because they are also the dependent component of society. This article is talking about children as a vulnerable segment. And why is this article being written in the first place? The article is talking about children because of the recent deaths that happened across the world, across various countries. Innocent children died. They experienced organ failure. Why? Because they consumed cough syrup, cough and cold syrup that was manufactured in India. This is a major setback to India. Why? Because India is one country which is known as the pharmaceutical capital of the world. India is one country which is known to be an exporter of essential medicines, a manufacturer of mRNA based vaccinations, and still so many deaths happening outside is a huge blame. It's a huge blemish on India's image as the global pharmaceutical. So that's the article talking about. And the article typically says that as of April 2025, there was a death of about 25 young children in the state of Madhya Pradesh in India. Why did these deaths happen? These happened because they consumed a cough syrup. They consumed a cough syrup despite the fact that such cough syrup was prohibited to be used for children under the age of 4 years. And still, children were given these cough syrups. They have experienced death as a result of that. What does it show? It shows why did the cough syrup ever reach the market? If it was prohibited to be used under 4 years of age, why was it found in the market? Is it not about a regulatory failure? Is it not about poor pharmacovigilance laws in India? And is it not about a poor coordination when it comes to pharmaceutical laws between the center and the states? Definitely. The policy is fragmented. The regulatory bodies have failed to control the quality of medicines that are reaching Indian markets. That's the issue here. 25 children dying in Madhya Pradesh, plus many other deaths happening to African children because of the cough syrups that were exported from India. Now, there is an article in Indian Constitution, Article 39F, and we understand we are talking about Directive Principles of State Policy, the DPSP. So, there is this Article 39F that says it is the duty and the obligation of Indian government to ensure safety of children, to ensure that children get opportunities, facilities to develop themselves in a healthy manner, to stay protected against exploitation and moral or financial abandonment by adults. That means children not only have a right to good health, they also have a right to caretaking. They have a right to nourishment. They have a right to be protected by elders, family, or society. That's the DPSP 39F. And today we have defeated that 39F principle by letting so many children die, by abandoning them. This is known as the clear cut case of therapeutic orphan. This article introduces a new word to you. I will write it here. It's called the case of therapeutic orphan. When pharmaceutical rules are abandoning children, they are cheating children, and children, they are dependents. They don't know. They will eat what you give them. And it is this dependence that has led to so many deaths today. But it's not just about Article 39F DPSP, it is also very much about Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, the right to life. The right to life with dignity and liberty. It includes the right to good health, especially for vulnerable communities like old people, women, physically disabled, mentally challenged, and children as well. Then there is Article 47, once again, Directive Principle of State Policy. In fact, not DPSP, this is your fundamental duty. Article 47, a chief fundamental duty. It is the duty of the state, it is also a DPSP, the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living among people, to improve public health and access to medication. Today, as we have failed to ensure drug safety, we have violated two essential components of Indian Constitution, fundamental rights plus DPSP. A lot of people say that directive principles of state policy are the soul and the heart of Indian Constitution. Just like Article 32 is the heart of fundamental rights. Similarly, directive principles of state policy as per Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a topic in GS paper 4 also, is the conscience of Indian Constitution. It is known as the principle of constitutional morality. Indian Constitution is a living document. It is not a passive document. It has a life. If you remember, we had spoken about how Sir B.N. Rao made a draft and how Dr. B.R. Ambedkar put life into that draft. So today we see Indian Constitution as a living body with a soul in it. And that's the idea of constitutional morality. We receive our values and our morals from our constitution. But today, when we are failing so many children, taking away their right to life, Article 21, failing in our directive principles of state policy, Article 39F, Article 47, not letting children be safe, not being able to give them a healthy environment, abandoning them. We are defeating both fundamental rights as well as DPSP. We are not being constitutionally moral. We are being immoral. That's what the article says. Now, where are the fault lines? Exactly why are these things happening? So let's understand there is an organization called Central Drugs Standard Controlling Organization. It is referred to as the CDSCO, Central Drug Control and Standards Organization. It is an apex body, the top body in India. It is an apex body that works under Directorate of Health General, the Directorate General of Health Services under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It is responsible for regulating manufacturing of drug at a large scale. It is responsible for imports and export medicines, the quality of import and export of medicines. It grants manufacturing and marketing approvals to various companies. But sometimes there is an overlap. There is a mismatch between the policy of the central CDSCO and the state drug control authorities. State drug control authorities. There is a mismatch between the two. There is a lack of coordination between the two. Because if the CDSCO looks into import, export, approval, marketing rights, it is the state drug control authorities that regulate small and medium scale manufacturers, sale and distribution inside the territory of the state. So within each state, the small and medium manufacturing, distribution and sale is governed by state drug control authority. This creates a dual regulatory structure, a two-layer regulatory structure, and that causes regulatory gaps, like in the case of Madhya Pradesh. The state government is saying, yes, the cough syrups were contaminated, but the central government said, no, there is nothing found in that. It is absolutely okay. In the case of some other medicines, central government said, no, there is a contamination of ethylene glycol. But the state government, the state drug control authority say there is nothing. It's very, very clean. There is a mismatch in the reports itself. So who is to trust these reports? What is the mistake of the common man here? There is no mistake of the common man. And because of these overlaps and lack of coordination, situations like Madhya Pradesh happen, where then drugs are sailing into the market. They are being sold and people buy them. People are blindly believing that Jan Aushadhi Kendra, the government supplied generic medication at a very cheap price. But what if it's contaminated, and then who is responsible for that? So that creates the problem of therapeutic orphan. It's a very interesting word actually. Therapeutic orphan. A word that's given by a man called Dr. Harry. I'll write his full name here. His name is Dr. Harry Shirley. Dr. Harry Shirley has given us the word therapeutic orphan. It means when children are being rejected, children are being failed during drug development and drug research. Because most of the clinical trials are conducted on adult population. Most of the R&D is also being done on adult drug. After all, adult medication is a larger market. So most of the pharmaceuticals are investing in R&D, clinical trial in adult or grown-up medication manufacturing. There is hardly any company that is investing in exclusive R&D when it comes to pediatric medication. Then what happens? There is a complete overlap. It is under-researched. Pediatric medication is an under-researched area. How do you calculate the dose of a child? When you want to give medicine to a child, you extrapolate that. You calculate it on the basis of adult dose. You believe that if an adult can have a Dolo 650, if the baby is about 5 to 6 years, okay, let's put it in half. That's a very common practice in India. Let's divide it into 1/4 and give it to the child. Least understanding that there is a huge difference among adult and children when it comes to metabolism, enzyme activity of the body, the level of organ maturity. Similarly, the level of absorption of the drug, the bioavailability of the drug, at what rate is the drug absorbed and at what rate is the drug rejected by the body composition, BMI, body mass index. Plus, there is also a misunderstanding about labels. Most of the labels for generic medicines like Crocin, they just say if the age of the child is say between 5 to 6 years, a child can have 5 ml of the medication. But do we understand India is also a place where children experience stunting and wasting? Majority children do not have the height for their body weight, and most of them do not have the weight that's appropriate for their age. In that case, how will these labels help you? Naturally, these children coming from vulnerable backgrounds are more prone to stunting and wasting. Less height, less weight, less BMI. How can you adhere to these labels without taking the advice of a doctor in that case? And that's the problem. So many medicines are being sold over the counter, OTC, over the counter. People sitting in pharmacies It's very common in India to go to a pharmacy, tell the symptoms, and get the medicines. Maybe for adult it is okay, but for a child it can never be all right. And that's what predisposes children to becoming therapeutic orphans. Rather than getting specialized advice, they are taking medicines on the basis of community, family intervention, pharmaceutical advice, and that doesn't make any sense. For example, if you look at European Union has a law which incentivizes, gives money, gives scholarships to those companies, to those individuals who are conducting pediatric drug formulation research. Similarly, in America, there is an incentive, a financial incentive that you get if you conduct pediatric drug research. But what happens in India? Now, WHO, World Health Organization, maintains a list that is called the list of essential medicines. These are the medicines that are commonly used for major ailments across the world. They are quite common. There is a list that WHO creates, but that list is upgraded. It is updated every few years. There is a regulation monitoring done. What does India do? India also periodically keeps on updating its list of essential medicines on the guidelines of WHO, but these revisions are very, very arbitrary. Sometimes they will happen, sometimes they will not happen. Just like the election SIR exercise. According to the law, it should happen periodically before every election, but then in Bihar it was done after 21 years. So similarly here also, India does maintain a list of essential medicines based on WHO guideline, but there is no regular monitoring. It's very random, it's very arbitrary. Either it's done or it's not done. So that's the problem. If it's not done, then we don't even know whether this drug has been prohibited or not. It continues to be sold in the market. That's the problem. So, what is the solution to this problem? Is there a solution? Can we make India a safer place for children when it comes to taking medicines? Better pharmacovigilance? Is there a possibility? What does the article say? Very good morning, my dear Vikash, Prakash, Reshma. Absolutely, as Ramu is saying. Dr. Ambedkar said DPSP is an instrument of instructions, but it is also the most important feature of the Constitution. I agree. Yes, absolutely, Reshma. And then there is a miscoordination. There is a lack of coordination between CDSCO, the apex body, the Central Drug Standard Controlling Organization, and the state drug control organizations. There is a mismatch. No wonder cases like Madhya Pradesh keep happening. Absolutely, absolutely. It should be mandatory to follow WHO guidelines strictly. They should be revised periodically, say every 2 years, the list of essential medicines. But that's not happening in India. No, that's the problem. Is there a solution to the problem? Can we have a solution? According to the article, the biggest solution is to create more coordination between CDSCO, the central body, and the state drug control organization or authorities. So there has to be a better policy coordination between the two at the center level, at the state level. Both of them should have parallel guidelines. They should meet each other rather than conflict with each other. Similarly, let's create a larger national pediatric. That's very important. Let's create a national pediatric pharmacovigilance database. This is very, very important right now. So apart from creating more coordination and policies between center and the state, let's have a broader portal. And the central portal should be called National Pediatric Pharmacovigilance Database. The purpose should be all the data, all the auditing that's done in drug safety, in drug research has to be updated in this portal. It should be available to both the central government, the authorities at the state level. It should be able to educate the doctors, pharmacists, care providers, NGO workers, Anganwadi workers, ASHA workers, auxiliary nurse midwives, ANMs. They should all be educated about which drugs are safe, which are not, what's the dosage according to height and weight of the child. They should regulate strictly the sale of over-the-counter cough and cold medicines. It should be strictly regulated only on the basis of prescription. Very, very important. And then apart from that, India is today the pharmacy of the global south. As I said, India is not only the voice of the global south, India is the pharmacy of the global south. It exports medicines to places like Gambia, Uzbekistan, Indonesia, Nepal. Today, if so many deaths happen in places like Indonesia, Gambia, Cameroon, what trust will people have on Indian medicines? Indian made cough syrups should meet export quality assurance. If we are able to do that, good. Otherwise, there is no point in being the pharmacy of the world, pharmacy of the global south. If nobody trusts us, then what's the point? So that's what the article says. At least do not fail the children. Incentivize, encourage private companies to conduct more R&D, when it comes to child pediatric medication, and strictly prohibit OTC, over the counter cold and cough syrups. After all, they have created so many deaths in Madhya Pradesh. So that's the article all about, GS paper 2. Now quickly the question. Very, very good morning, my dear Eric, and very, very good morning. East West, that's the code name. Thank you. Love all of you so much. Quickly the question. With reference to regulation of pediatric medicines in India, look at the following statements here. One, the CDSCO, okay, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, functions under the Directorate General of Health Services under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Two, India has a specific law for regulating pediatric drug formulation. Quite like America, the Best Pharmaceutical for Children's Act. And three, the WHO maintains a separate list of essential medicines for children to guide national policies in countries. And four, Article 39F of the Indian Constitution, DPSP, makes it important for us to provide children protection against monetary abandonment. So which of these statements are valid? Dipesh, Vikash, Reshma, Golu, Ramu, all of you say the answer is C. Absolutely it is C. Very well answered. Great job. Because 2 is incorrect here. Second statement is not correct because clearly India doesn't have that law. European Union has, America has, India doesn't. We need a separate law that could encourage much more private companies and public sector undertakings to invest in R&D, to create a culture of regulating and clinical trial of child medication. Do not depend on adult dose. Create a separate protocol. That's the demand. Very well answered. Arif, very well answered there. Eric, Shubha, an aspirant, and Pranarthi. That's absolutely correct. Yes, you've answered well. Correct. No doubt. C is the valid answer. Well done. Now, next article is also page number 8, editorial. You might find this repetitive, but it's not exactly repetitive. Very good, Balram. That's correct, my dear. So it's not exactly repetitive. It's like you are looking at the same problem with a very different picture right now. Also, we are talking about the Great Nicobar project, and we have spoken about it multiple times before from the perspective of GS paper 3, climate mitigation, disaster management. Also, from the standpoint of export promotion zones, maritime security. So it's quite an important topic, of course. And what are we talking about? The Great Nicobar project. Okay. The article is telling us that the Great Nicobar project is a project that has proposed the creation of, now let's remember this name, the Galathea. It has proposed creating a Galathea Bay International Container Transshipment Terminal. Okay, so we all understand what is the Great Nicobar project? A project that will create an airport, a transshipment link, many kind of industrial hubs, a power station, all will be created in the Great Nicobar project. Today, we all understand that there is a controversy going on. The government supports this project. Why? Because the government believes not only will this enable economic growth of the area of the Great Nicobar, but also because the Great Nicobar project will be strategically located in this place. If you look at the map here, the idea of creating the Great Nicobar project is important because for India, it will mean a much more strong representation in the Indo-Pacific area, in the Indian Ocean area. India wants a larger footprint to be created in the entire Indian Ocean region. And why do we want a larger footprint? We want it because of China's expansion. Also because the Great Nicobar project will give India the advantage of being able to patrol, being able to monitor, being able to survey the Strait of Malacca. If you can see on your map, this is the Strait of Malacca. It is a very, very strategic choke point. It is a strategic choke point because this thin Strait of Malacca, sandwiched, situated between Malaysia and Singapore, is also the place from where majority of exports enter China, enter Southeast Asia from the West. India today has said that alongside Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, I also want to monitor the Strait of Malacca because for India also it is a very important choke point. Not only a choke point for supply chain to Southeast Asia and China, but also for safety reason. Now, there is hardly any difference between India's landfall island in the Andaman, India's landfall island in the Andaman, and the Coco Island. The Coco Island, which is in the hands of Myanmar. But we all know China has a great influence in Myanmar. It is Chinese military that keeps its presence on the Coco Island, supported by Myanmar Janta. That's why Myanmar is not allowing us to go and survey the Coco Island. And how much is the gap? Oh, hardly few kilometers. They are very close to each other. India's landfall island in Andaman and the Coco Island of Myanmar. Hardly any gap. Yes, absolutely, Reshma, Coco Island. So what do we do there? Today it is important for us to have a footprint in this area. If we want to patrol the Strait of Malacca, if we want to improve our strategic presence in the Indian Ocean, and if we want to keep a strict eye on areas like Coco Island, because China sitting in the Coco Island can very nicely observe and monitor what all activities is India doing from Sriharikota. What all is India doing from the APJ Abdul Kalam Island? Everything China can see. And that's not good for us. It's very unsafe. And that's the reason India is so excited. The government is so excited about the Great Nicobar project. The government says by creating the Galathea Bay Seaport Transshipment Terminal, it is only a larger part of a mega plan that is about an airport, a power station, a society, as well as this massive transshipment link. All of this will enable us a total capacity of 16 million TEU. That's the traffic will improve so much if India creates today this transshipment link near the Great Nicobar Island. So that's what the government says. But there are controversies here. Why? Because this area, the Great Nicobar Island, already has India's INS bars. Let's understand. A Southern Naval Air Station of India. It is a Southern Naval Air Station of India that is used for surveying the Eastern Indian Ocean. It is used to survey the Eastern Ocean, the eastern coast of India and the Strait of Malacca. That is already situated in the Great Nicobar called INS bars. Today, the government is saying this port, the Galathea Bay port in the Great Nicobar Island, as a part of the Great Nicobar project, will reduce India's dependence on international ports like Colombo and Singapore. India will become self-sufficient when it comes to more shipbuilding, when it comes to the trade through ships, and when it comes through to foreign transshipment. India will become self-dependent, Atmanirbhar. We do not have to then depend on Singapore and Colombo so much as we are dependent today. Plus, it will also improve job opportunities for the local people. It will lead to economic development. But the article is asking some fundamental questions, that there are two kind of conflicts with this whole project. And the two kind of conflicts are, one, economic, and the other, ecology. So what are the conflicts exactly? One thing is, if you talk about economy, the article is saying building a port capacity is not only about investing money into it. It is not only about creating modern infrastructure into it. Creating a massive port will never guarantee you liner service supply. It will not guarantee you more trade security. It will not guarantee you any kind of liner services. Just having an infrastructure doesn't guarantee that the port will become a successful transshipment link. It will be able to attract traffic from all over the world. It will diversify the traffic from important ports like Colombo and Singapore suddenly into India. It is not going to happen because it is not dependent on infrastructure. It is dependent on trust and goodwill. It takes years, decades for a port to be trusted by other countries, for them to channelize their traffic from that area. So it just does not happen by creating a massive infrastructure. There is no guarantee. For example, in India, we have the Valar Padam. That is a great example that investment and infrastructure can also underperform. There is no guarantee it will lead to a higher performance. No guarantee of that sort. Similarly, what is the guarantee that you invest so much money, crores of rupees, in creating economic development, but it does not attract any kind of feeder connectivity? It does not attract any kind of carrier traffic in this area. And what happens if these are not able to compete? This port is not able to compete with existing large scale ports like China, Singapore, Colombo. And then what will you do? So the Galathea Bay also has another problem. Now there is hardly any urban city life in the Great Nicobar Island. You know, it is a very, very remote island. It is a forested area. It is inhabited by tribals like Champinese and Nicobari. It is rich with biodiversity and mangrove. Correct? As Vikash said, olive ridley turtle. Absolutely. And so many other species that are very endemic to this area. Yes, absolutely. It's a strategic choke point, Vikash. Very good morning, my dear Bulbul. So that's the problem. But it doesn't have an urban infrastructure. Great Nicobar is not a metro city, it's not a mega city. So that's also the problem. There is no kind of hinterland, no kind of organic import export cargo that will be utilized through this port. There is nothing here. The only way is to depend on foreign transshipment. You will have to heavily depend on transshipment cargo that originates from outside India and that terminates also outside India. It will only become a corridor for foreign ships to pass by. There is hardly any local infrastructure to support organic cargo, Indian made cargo. There is nothing like that. But that's the problem. Apart from that, there is another issue. The Great Nicobar is on a short haul network. The island is very, very remote. It is about 1200 kilometers away from India's mainland. To keep on supplying fuel, manpower, labor, food supply, or any other kind of feeder cargo, it will be very expensive. 1200 kilometers mean if you want to send anything or you want to call back anything from the Great Nicobar into the mainland India, any equipment, any personnel, any individual, it's going to be very, very pricey. The operational cost itself is very expensive. Even to do labor rotations, some people are working and they come back and another people are deployed over there. That's again very, very expensive. So you will actually face a lot of competition. You cannot immediately have a large scale like existing Colombo, Sri Lanka or Chinese ports. So that's why whatever happens will take time. Immediate results are not going to come. For Great Nicobar, transshipment link to divert the traffic from Singapore, Colombo will need massive incentivization, massive subsidy. So So where will you get any profit from? There is a very poor chance of profit. And then comes ecological constraints. Let's remember in 2004, the area became victim to a massive tsunami. We all remember the 2004 tsunami, super destruction. The region is already seismically very sensitive. After 2004 tsunami, we all know it is tectonically a very, very fragile area, very sensitive area. Now, India has a very ambitious mission here. It's called India's Vision of a Maritime Arc. India's vision of a maritime arc. And what is this arc all about? This arc aims to connect the Vizhinjam port in Kerala to the Vadhavan port in Maharashtra to now the Great Nicobar port, the Galathea Bay port. It's a very ambitious plan. But in reality, it will be very difficult because all these are operating separately within their own different commercial ecosystems. To suddenly link them together will need a lot of money. It will need a lot of R&D to be done. Are we prepared for that in the coming few years? No. And what all is it coming at a price of? Price of creating a construction in a seismically, tectonically sensitive area? The price of removing about 13,000 hectares of forest? The price of harming the coral reefs that are existing in this region, a key habitat for nestling of the olive ridley turtle and the critically endangered leatherback sea turtles. We are endangering them. What about the mangroves? Mangroves are protecting the sea coast against tsunamis and sea wave. By removing so many mangrove forests, are we not exposing the tribes, the flora and fauna to submergence in the sea? Yes, we are. Let's also understand that there are rights of tribals like Shompenis and Nicobari. What about them? Their rights are getting endangered. And last but not the least again, the project is situated in the coastal regulation zone. The project is situated in the coastal regulation zone, the CRZ1A. CRZ1A means it is an identified fragile zone, a very sensitive zone where development has been restricted all these years. Today, suddenly you are doing so much investment, so many trees you are removing, and then you are promising that under the CAMPA Act of India, CAMPA, compensatory forestation, if we are removing forests from here, we will grow them in Haryana. Does Haryana have space to accommodate 13,000 hectares of forest? There is another law under CAMPA. If you are removing trees from one area and you are not able to provide the same quality of afforestation, you have to provide afforestation into double amount of area. Will we do that in Haryana? Is it likely to happen? It's not likely. Can we grow mangroves in Haryana? So that is the whole problem. As you're saying, Vikash, the CRZ has been anyway ignored by the government. So many local tribals are also saying that permission was not even taken before the relocation started. So you see how it is proceeding. It is a very, very controversial project right now. At the same time, Forest Right Act 2006. Tribals like Shompenis and Nicobari have the right on forest. Even if they are protected forest, the tribals will have right on the forest resource. By removing this forest without taking adequate consent of the tribals, what are we doing? So that's why it is a great controversy economically as well as ecologically. Okay, absolutely, Reshma, the Campbell National Park, absolutely, and the Galathea Bay National Park are also very, very key areas for olive ridley turtles, critically endangered leatherback sea turtle, all these animals, they are severely endangered. Logistic cost is critical, Ramu. Apart from that, climate footprint is critical. Correct. That's why we created the National Disaster Management Act, because we experienced tsunami. But today, what if we remove the forest and another tsunami comes? Who's responsible for that? That's the question. Yes, the Transparency in Land Acquisition 2013. Yes, absolutely, my dear. So Vikash and Dipesh and Rishi have already answered. Good morning, Rishi. I saw you just now. Yeah, Golu has also answered. Let me also quickly do it. Consider the following statements regarding Great Nicobar. One. The proposed transshipment port at Galathea Bay aims to reduce India's dependence on Colombo and Singapore ports. 2. Project area lacks significant industrial or urban hinterland. Hinterland means interior area, the interior local area. The project lacks urban land because it's in Great Nicobar to support large scale port operations. And three, the existing naval facility INS Bars on the Great Nicobar already contributes to India's maritime domain awareness in the Indian Ocean. Absolutely well answered. My dearest all of you, Dipesh, Vikash, Rishi, Golu, Reshma, aspirant. As Vikash, there's a violation of Article 338A, tribal rights. Absolutely. Ramu, Rishi, very well answered. It's D. All are correct. All are correct. Very well answered. Very, very beautifully answered there. Well done. Now, quickly, the next article. It's slightly a new topic about Madhya Pradesh. We are talking about soybean. What are we talking about? Soybean. Nowadays, so many people are becoming fitness freaks. I don't know how many of you are into regular workouts and protein intake and keto diets. It's becoming very, very common. One of my friends told me the other day that no, veganism and keto together is very, very good nowadays. Everybody is having that kind of craze. So the protein consumption fascination is also in the urban India. But we do understand, even if you look at the whole country, so despite about 60-65% Indian population being still rural, we know that India is a country which has a high grade protein hunger. So India, Nepal, countries which have a higher vegetarian food intake, they do generally also report for a higher protein deficiency. So India right now is a classic case of hidden hunger, protein deficiency, iron deficiency. Yeah, there are health problems, and therefore people are running behind protein supplements, and all of that is going on. So this article touches upon that. So soybean, absolutely yes, yes, correct. Soybean has become a very, very key product right now because in India, soybean is one product which is used less for oil production. It is used more as a protein consumption source because you and I today talk about protein, important, very important for building muscles and all of that. But then even we understand that in general for improving maternal health, child health, yes, protein is important. So in India, soybean has been always used as a protein supplement rather than only being used for creating oil. And this article is talking about Madhya Pradesh right now. What does the article say? Article says Madhya Pradesh is India's largest soya bean producer. So please remember, very good morning dear Kujumba, happy to see you. Yes, Ramu, that was the right answer. Yes, aspirant, absolutely, my dear. Okay, so for this article, Madhya Pradesh is India's largest soybean producer. But today it is seeing a problem, a decline in the production, a decline in the profit of soybean cultivation. Young farmers, the article is also having some case studies from people like Anil and so many other examples the article is given. They have spoken to the farmers directly, the young generation farmers, and they are saying, we are not interested in doing soybean cultivation. We want to go out of here. We don't want to do something that our grandfathers and fathers were doing because back then it was profitable. Today it is not profitable. So soybean production in Madhya Pradesh started in 1970s and 1980s, primarily in Madhya Pradesh. But today, young farmers are very unhappy and they want to leave and go away. They don't want to be here. They say we are not getting enough minimum support price. And even if the government is giving MSP, it doesn't compete with the market rate. Second, the entire hectare yield per unit area of land is also falling down now. Slowly, from 1917 to 80s, Madhya Pradesh became the largest producer of soybean in India. Today, soybean is India's largest oil seed crop by area. So please remember these two facts. One, Madhya Pradesh is the largest soybean producer in India from 1970s and 1980s. Second fact to remember for the exam. Soybean is the largest oil crop in India by area. It accounts for 40% of Indian oil seed production. So, three facts we learned from this article. One, Madhya Pradesh largest soybean producer. Two, from 1970 to 1980s, soybean has been used as a major protein source in India. Three, Soybean is the largest oilseed crop in India by area, and it contributes to 40% of India's total oilseed production. It is also very important for India's protein security. It is mainly grown in states like Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. These are the major producer of soybean. Overall, if you look at India, then India produces about 100 lakh tons. 100 lakh tons of soybean annually. 100 lakh ton of soybean annually is produced in India, with Madhya Pradesh alone producing 50 lakh ton annually. These are some key things we need to remember. Total, India produces 100 lakh ton of soybean. Madhya Pradesh alone contributes to 50 lakh ton out of that. But today the young farmers are experiencing distraught. They are not happy. They want to go away. They don't want to do this job anymore. Why? Because they feel that there is a substandard provision of seeds by the government. There is a poor germination of these seeds. Monsoon is becoming highly irregular. Sometimes there are unexpected cloud bursts. Some other times there is hardly any adequate rainfall. 2024 deficit rainfall. 2025 4% extra rainfall across India. It's very irregular. Pest infestation is a very common problem because of climate change and rise of heat temperature, rise of summer temperature. Apart from that, chemical inputs are becoming very, very expensive. So today farmers are saying, although the government does give minimum support price on the soybean, but this is not enough. It is not enough because the farmers are not able to receive even 60 to 70% of MSP. The reason is that the input cost is very high. Rupees 8,000 to rupees 10,000 per hectare gets wasted in buying fertilizer, seeds, pesticides, manures, irrigation. It is so high that the minimum support price can cover only 60 to 70% of that. If the input cost is so high, then the net profit will naturally decline. Plus, harvesting machines are very expensive. Very expensive. Now, same thing was told by farmers in Punjab also. When the government said, why are you burning the kharif stubble? Stop doing that. Don't burn the kharif stubble. The farmers said the same thing. See, we are poor people. Do you provide us with modern stubble disposers? You don't, right? We cannot do anything with this paddy straw. If we start manually destroying it, when will we grow the rabi? That's why they burn. Quick solution. Same thing is here also. Soybean farmers in Madhya Pradesh are saying, what is the point of giving MSP to us? Because it is so expensive, the input cost, 10,000 rupees per hectare as a farmer I am spending on irrigation, seed, fertilizer, manure, pesticide. Additionally, I am also spending it because I need machines for harvesting. Then what is the profit that I will get? Nothing. 70% of MSP is getting wasted on all these things. My net profit is so poor. Then what is the benefit in cultivating soybean, by the way? So today farmers are experiencing that kind of net negative income. There is no use. No use. Now at the same time, this is creating another issue. Another issue is that if there is no profit, then naturally India is now moving towards import. What choice do we have rather than importing it? We'd have no choice, right? But import is also a problem. Because if you start importing from America, then look at the loss that our farmers will experience. American soybean is costing $380 per ton. Okay, we will start importing it. But what happens to our farmers if we start doing that? The cost of Indian soybean comes out to be $620 per ton. Now you tell how to import? Just like the situation with corn. When President Trump said, why doesn't India with 1.4 billion people start taking corn from us? Because President Trump himself comes from the corn growing belt from India. That's his electorate belt, right? So he said, please buy my corn. But Indians said, we can't do that. One thing is because it is genetically modified. And second thing is because it will create loss to our farmers. Why will we do that? Same problem India has with RCEP also. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership of ASEAN. There is so much loss in the dairy agriculture sector, manufacturing sector. When we do a free trade agreement with ASEAN countries in RCEP, India never joined it. That's why. Because our trade deficit was high. What is the benefit of that trade then? Same thing today. If the farmers are unhappy and they can't grow soybean anymore, should we start importing from America? What is the benefit? American will cost 380 per ton. Our own will cost 620 per ton. Obviously, everybody will buy American soybean. And what happens to Indian soybean? What happens to these farmers here? Already they are experiencing a net negative income. They will experience more loss. That's not something we want, right? So that's the problem here. Once upon a time, soybean was the golden crop of central India. Today it is showing agriculture crisis. 2025 Kharif season, data says oil seed sowing came down by 10.62 hectare. Soybean production reduced by 9.1 lakh hectare. So farmers are shifting to cultivating maize now. They are moving away from agriculture completely. And that causes another problem. When these farmers and agriculture workers stop doing agriculture and they start becoming non-agriculture, they will migrate to the urban areas. Once they migrate to the urban areas, what happens? Will they get job over there? You understand by now the simple formula I have taught you for GS paper 3 and 2. Seasonal plus disguised unemployment of the rural India gets transformed into structural plus vulnerable unemployment of the urban India. People migrate, but nothing else migrates. Seasonal and disguised unemployment in the village gets converted into structural and vulnerable unemployment in the city. They don't get good jobs. They don't get formal sector jobs. So people leaving agriculture only means more addition to India's informal economy, and that's not a solution at all. Schemes. Yes, there are schemes that exist in India. There are some schemes such as the Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana. It is a minimum support price scheme, price difference payment. The government has told farmers of soybean in Madhya Pradesh, if you are not getting profit, we will pay you a compensation. But there is a lack of transparency in calculation. Sometimes there is too much delay in getting the reimbursement, and actual loss is still not compensated by this money. So the problem is Madhya Pradesh's economy is deeply connected with soybean today. If so much fall in production happens, not only does it impact the livelihood of farmers, it will also create more to more rural to urban migration, interstate migration. And both these are again social problems of their own kind. Soybean is important. It is a protein crop. In India, it is not used so much as an oil crop. It contributes 40% of our oil seed production, but still, it has another bigger use. It is used as a protein crop. It is used as a protein supplement. Imports will only devastate the local economy. Is there a solution? Yes. Strictly implement schemes like PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Provide direct benefit transfer to Kisans, to farmers. National mission on edible oils, oil palm, to make India Atmanirbhar in oil seed production. Then more research and development to provide better quality of seeds for these farmers rather than importing soybean. It's a better idea to import the seeds and then try to create the same seeds at the local level. The government further has to do some support, give more price stability, and completely stop imports, because if you keep on importing, it is not the solution to the problems of these farmers. Now, quickly to the question, please. In the meantime, okay, Nagarajan, very good morning, my dear. Yes, Golu, absolutely. We can see, yes, Madhya Pradesh is a major area for soybean production. Kisan Dhan Yojana, absolutely. There are so many schemes here. As Rishi says, China has banned soybean from America. Absolutely. And China has become very, very self-dependent also by one, diversifying US market, and second, also trying to grow locally. So that's something India needs to do too. Question: with reference to the recent crisis in soybean cultivation in Madhya Pradesh, look at the following statements. Vikash, Dipesh, Reshma, and Rishi already answered there. So did aspirant and Golu. One, the Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana aims to compensate farmers for the difference between minimum support price and actual market price. Two, Soybean Processors Association of India, SOPA, has opposed the import of US soybean, saying that it is a risk to domestic farmers and processing industry. And three, more than 50% of edible oil production comes from soybean cultivation. Absolutely valid. Very, very well answered, everyone. Reshma, Kojumba, Aspirin, Golu, Rishi, Vikash, Dipesh were the first ones to answer anyway. And Ramu. Absolutely valid. B is correct, my dear. Yes, Reshma. Because third is invalid. Soybean contributes to 40% of India's total oil seed production, not 50%. Correct. And in India, it is majorly used for protein consumption, not so much for oil production. Very good. Now, the remaining two articles, let's quickly finish them off. Gyan Bharatam mission is now trying to create a pact with at least 20 institutions across India. So, what is this mission all about? Now, the Gyan Bharatam mission is a mission by the Union Ministry of Culture. The purpose is to protect, enhance, revitalize, conserve India's manuscripts. And what is a manuscript? What do you mean by a manuscript? A manuscript is a handwritten document. A manuscript is a handwritten document. Traditional texts. It is a part of India's cultural heritage, historical texts, literature. Under the mission Gyan Bharatam, the government, the Ministry of Culture, Union Ministry, has agreed to conserve, protect, improve, rejuvenate digitally all the important manuscripts in India by digitizing them, by protecting and saving them in the digital mode. Yes, handwritten, absolutely, Golu. That's correct, Rishi and Reshma. Correct. That was the correct answer, Lenny. Well done, my dear. Okay, so 20 institutes have signed the memorandum of understanding, and 30 more institutions will sign now in the next few days. And the understanding is that with the support of Ministry of Culture at the center, these private institutes, total 50, will start identifying, recording, documenting, conserving, and then digitizing, creating a digital copy to promote India's manuscript heritage. So just remember that. And the new portal that will be created to protect these manuscripts will be called as National Digital Repository. NDR, National Digital Repository. National Digital Repository. All the manuscripts will be secured here. So that's a beautiful cultural scheme. It is a milestone, yes, because it will integrate technology, digitization with research and cultural protection. The first installment will be given by the government in the next annual budget, and the second will also be released by the government once the memorandum of understanding is completed. So just remember the mission. Just remember the mission. It was announced during the annual budget of 2025. So we are creating a national digital repository from the Vedic period, from ancient India. Absolutely, Vikash. It's about manuscript digitization. Yes, Golu. Absolutely, Kojumba. Like the Manusmriti. There are so many more. So we need to protect them. That's all. Next, we all know Japan has the first lady prime minister. Recently, Nepal had Ms. Sushila Tyagi. Now, Japan has had the new lady prime minister, Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. Now, this lady, as she came to the power, has very strongly, and we appreciate her for that. Very strongly, she has said that she wants to improve Japan's defense expenditure. Let's understand, Japan was a country which, after the Second World War, had decided that it will not spend too much on its military. It will not have a big army at all. It will also never initiate an attack on another country except if it's a case of severe emergency or pure self-defense. Japan will never attack anyone. Japan doesn't believe in fight and war. Japan believes in economic, cultural growth, cultural relations, and Japan will not spend too much money from GDP into military. But today in 2025, the global realities have changed. Japan knows there is no choice. There is North Korea, there is Russia, there is China, there is America. See, all the countries in the world are busy in their nuclear race. Especially if you look at Japan's key enemy, China. China's expansion in the South China has not left Japan also. They both have had an age-old conflict over the Senkaku Islands. There are many more ways in which Japan says that in Japan's remote islands, China keeps sending drones, surveillance ships. So Japan knows this situation is not to avoid military expenditure. So today, clearly, Miss Takaichi has committed that earlier under the previous government, the target was that the defense expenditure of Japan will be increased to 2% by the end of March 2026. By March 2026, Japan will now spend 2% of the GDP in defense. This is a commitment made by the new Prime Minister earlier. The previous government said by the end of 2027, Japan will reach 2% GDP when it comes to military. But this lady, Ms. Takaichi, has revised it 1.5 to 2 years before she will achieve that agenda now. The previous government said Japan will increase GDP on military because of China's fear, North Korea's fear, but 2% of GDP on defense by 2027 December. That was the previous government. Today she has changed everything. Yes, aspirant. Sanai Takaichi. Japan is a self-defense country. Correct, Reshma. But today it has changed. This first lady Prime Minister says, no, we will not wait. Not by December 27. By March 2026, I will spend 2% of GDP into defense. That is something that she clearly says. Now, what is the name of Japanese parliament? What's the name of Japanese parliament? Can anybody tell me? I know you have, everybody must be knowing about Israel's, Iran's. It's in the news every day. What's the name of Japanese parliament? What is Japanese parliament called? What is it called? It's given in this article. What is it known as? It's known as DIET. You can remember by diet. We keep talking about dieting protein, so you can remember from there, diet. So she said that in the diet, in the Japanese parliament, that now I will spend 2% of GDP by 2026 March. Yes, aspirant. Yes, Kochumba. In defense expenditure. She also has committed very clearly that Japan sees China, Russia, North Korea as serious military concerns. Yes, Anuj. Absolutely, Rishi, Golu. Correct. Very good. So she has clearly said in the diet, in the parliament, that she is very, very clear-headed person. She said, I see Japan, I see North Korea, China and Russia as my clear-cut serious threats. And therefore, I want to improve the quadrilateral dialogue, the quad country collaboration. I want to have a much better relationship with India, Australia, US and Philippines and South Korea. After all these countries want a transparent and law and order based South China, Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean. So she will cooperate with these countries on multilateral security. That's all. Quick the question. With reference to Quad, look at the following statements. 1. The Quad comprises India, Japan, Australia, America with the objective of promoting an open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. 2. The Malabar naval exercise was originally a trilateral exercise, three-party exercise among the Quad countries. And 3. The Quad has established a working group on critical and emerging technologies, including semiconductors and 5G networks. So which of these are valid statements? Slightly tricky question. Which of these are valid statements? Think about it again. How many countries started with the Quad Malabar exercise? How many started? Did all 3 start? Or just? With whom did India start this exercise? Slowly, other people also start joining. But with whom did India start this exercise? Think about it. Initially, who was there? Yes? Okay, so well answered there. Rishi, Dipesh, aspirant, Reshma, Golur have answered and they all said, and Rishi is very categorical about it. He said, absolutely, it's B. Yes, it will be B only. Very well answered. See, the third statement is correct. Quite recently, that is about 6 to 7 months before, in fact, even last year, the Quad members said, we will create a separate working group that will work on critical minerals. New technologies like AI, semiconductor, 5G connectivity. See, please understand, the broader agenda is anti-China. Because they know that the Russia-China nexus is not a good one. It's not a safe one. You must remember that quite a while back, I think it was 2-3 months before, we have discussed it in the class also, as US and South Korea were conducting some exercise. North Korea had a major problem. He said that, no, I'm not tolerating any such thing, and China supported North Korea. So the situation in South China Sea and Indo-Pacific is very volatile. You have a clear-cut party. It is the Quad countries who believe in transparency. It is China, South Korea, Russia who believe in a very, very dictatorial and expansionist idea. So naturally, whether it's semiconductor tie-up, critical minerals, REM tie-up with Australia, with South Korea, with Japan, naturally these countries are working towards collaborating in emerging technologies. So 3 is correct. Second is not correct, because originally the exercise began with India and America. Malabar was a bilateral one, India-US. Slowly, we saw the joining of Australia and Japan. Later, it became a quadrilateral dialogue. Okay, that's something we need to understand. And now the last article is about Election Commission of India. We all saw the whole big tamasha, the whole big mess that happened in Bihar Assembly election. A very, very badly done electoral roll estimation, resulting in a proper special intensive revision exercise. And then ECI, Election Commission of India, said, for the whole India, we will start doing SIR. Next year, West Bengal is also going for assembly election. It is the right time. We will do the SIR for the whole country, starting with 12 states and then expanding it to all other states slowly. Today, the Election Commission of India is saying, just like the Bihar elections are coming, it is mandatory for political parties to be very responsible about using artificial intelligence and deep fakes. It's the new threat in election. So the ECI has said, during conversing, during propaganda, please do not use too much AI. And if you are using AI and deep fake in your campaigning before the election, you have to notify, you have to declare that this video, this image, or this photograph or whatever, this audio is a result of AI generated text. It is synthetic and it is not original. So this is a very clear cut guideline that ECI has issued. Last year also, in May 2024, ECI had given a similar guideline that in the elections, be very careful about using social media. No hate message, no volatile message, no communal message, no caste-based message. So today also it says you cannot misuse AI content. If you are using a photo that is hyper realistic, that is synthetic, AI generated, deep fake generated, it might mislead the public. It will create a fake idea among people. It will spread misinformation. It will influence the voters in a negative way. And we cannot allow that. So, in case you are using any such photo, any such video, please give a disclaimer. Give a clarity that it is AI generated. It has to be labeled as AI generated. Otherwise, it will be considered as a violation of the ECI code of conduct, the model code of conduct. It will be considered invalid. Okay, so all this happens as the ECI is saying that any photo, video, any social media message, if that is AI generated, we need to have a clarity on that. Now, which articles of the Constitution does this topic relate to? Definitely Article 324, how Election Commission of India has the power to conduct free and fair elections across central government elections, legislature and the state legislature. Then there is Model Code of Conduct. Political parties and political leaders have to be very careful about their behavior during campaigns. Then it also touches upon IT Act 2000. We have recently spoken about the Safe Harbor Act, 81J. Remember all of that? The Safety Harbor, all of those acts I have spoken to you about. Good morning, Ajit. Yes? Today we are saying IT Act 2000. Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 2021. It provides ways in which misinformation can be controlled. It also touches upon 1951, Representation of People Act, which guides Election Commission of India in conducting elections. Under this, there are two sections, 171G, 123.4. They both say spreading false statements is a crime. Corrupt practices during elections are a violation of code of conduct. Absolutely, Reshma. Section 79, safe harbor of the IT Act 2000. Okay, that's it for the day. That's all. Now in Ladakh, in Leh, the controversy about Sonam Wangchuk's arrest, we all know. So today I will make a dedicated video on Article 371 and how does it relate to the Schedule 6 of the Constitution. In this news, they are just saying that the Ministry of Home Affairs has created a separate commission. The commission will investigate into the killings and the injuries that happened to the civilians during the Leh protest, the Ladakh protest. It will be a commission called as Justice B.S. Chauhan Commission. What is the name? Justice B.N. Chauhan. Justice B.N. Chauhan Commission. To look into the civilian deaths that happened where? On 24th September during Ladakh protest. As the bodies of Ladakh, LAB and KDA, the Leh Apex Body and Kargil Democratic Alliance have been demanding Schedule 6 status, more autonomy, but the government has not given that. And that's why the government is offering, okay, if I cannot give you Schedule 6, let me offer you Article 371 protection. But they are not happy about it. The protest became so ugly that on 24th September, so many people had actually died in that. So today, the Justice B.N. Chauhan Commission will now record testimony of people. It will conduct a judicial inquiry and the results will be awaited. Okay, that's all. That's all for the day. Now, once again, the PM Shri news was in the PM Shri scheme was in the news today also. The scheme that was initiated in 2022 with the purpose of modernizing, upgrading, and putting smart technology into existing Indian schools. That's it. Now, before anybody leaves, here's a small thing that I want to convey to you. It's an information I want to share with you. And on that note, the Malabar was a bilateral one, Reshma. Yes. Vikash, absolutely well said, bacha. It is section 75 of IT Act 2000. Absolutely, Vikash. That had happened. It has already criminalized California. Very good. Very good. That was in the news. Yes. So there is one quick thing I want to discuss with all of you. So tomorrow is Sunday. Anyway, we won't have a session tomorrow. Monday, I will come for the Hindu session. Monday, because of some issue, we will not be able to have a live chat on Monday. But that's just on Monday. Tuesday, everything will become normal. Tuesday, again, we will have a live chat. So Monday, I will come for the session. You will get the class. Interaction may not be possible, but you just listen to the news and take the important points. But because our key agenda is discussion, once again, the next day onwards, Tuesday onwards, we'll be back with the normalcy. Again, lots of interaction, lots of discussion, and lots of fun. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to inform you. So I'll see you on Monday now. Yes, very good, Vikash. The ATMT states, AMTM states, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram. Very good. That's Schedule 6 for you. So thank you so much, Ajit Kojumba. Thank you so much, my dear Rishi, Vikash, Golu, Levino, Anuj, Dipesh, Ramu, aspirant, as well as by the code name of Longitam, and so many other people, in fact. Thank you, all of you here. Bulbul, Arif. All right. Thank you so much for all the names that I can see here. Ajit as well, and Ramu, of course, an aspirant, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless all of you. Love all of you so much. Thank you, Lavino. I'll see you on Monday, okay? Take care. Stay blessed.